Namaskaram, the South Indian is here. You know, a lot of people said a couple of years ago that what has marketing got to do with politics? Over the years, all that has completely changed because perception is sometimes reality. They say in Hindi, jo dikhta hai, wo bikta hai. Whatever is cited gets sold. If you don't really come up to the standards, the people drop you. That's the reality, and let's all face it. And let's not be very queasy about it. And I'll tell you why. You know, it was launched with much fanfare, as it should have been, for a strong opposition is one of the pillars in a vibrant democracy. In July of last year, around 26 parties or that many came together to fight Modi's India and called their group the Indian National Developmental Inclusive Alliance, or simply put, India. We thought that only Modi has a liking for acronyms, but they did it. They called it India. Many meetings were held, we all saw it, were witness to it, but at every stage there were simmering signs of dissent. The management of the comment of the Sanatana Dharma made by Udayanidhi Stalin. What does one do when one particular major leader or leader's son makes such a statement? The vote sharing, every time there were lots of discussions on this, more discussions, there was, kind of dissent. The naming of the convener, we all saw it, the president. But today, Mamata Banerjee said it as it is. She ruled out any alliance with the Congress in the state for the upcoming Lok Sabha election. She cited a number of reasons, and let me tell you, people call Mamata a street fighter for no reason. There is some truth to this. Yes, I am sticking my neck out and saying that. She said very forcefully in Bengali that she and her party had given Congress a proposal which they refused, that she wasn't invited for the Bharat Jodo Nyay Yatra, which is being of course led by Rahul Gandhi, and how as a secular party the TMC shall decide how to fight the elections.
আমার কোনো কথা হয়নি এবং আমি প্রস্তাব দিয়েছিলাম, ওরা প্রথম দিনই প্রত্যাখ্যান করেছে। তখন থেকে আমাদের দল সিদ্ধান্ত নিয়েছে আমরা বাংলায় একা চলবো। ইভেন ওরা যে আজ থেকে র্যালি করেছে আমাদের একবার অ্যাজ এ ম্যাটার অফ কান্ট্রি, আমি ইন্ডিয়ার অ্যালায়েন্স আমাকে একবার জানিয়েছে দিদি আপনার রাজ্যে যাচ্ছি, না জানায়নি। সুতরাং আমার সাথে কোনো সম্পর্ক নেই বাংলার ব্যাপারে। অল ইন্ডিয়ায় কী করবো না করবো আপনার ইলেকশন ভাববো, আমরা সেকুলার পার্টি, আমরা বিজেপিকে হারানোর জন্য যা করা হবে। কিন্তু এখন কোনো চর্চা নেই, মিথ্যে কথা, অ্যাবসলিউটলি রং। মিথ্যেটা আমি বলবো না বলতে, অ্যাবসলিউটলি রং।
On the same day, we heard yet another voice, that being Chief Minister of Punjab, Bhagwant Mann, who also came out and announced that they shall go minus the Congress in the state. The situation seems to be getting worse every passing day. Now, if you look at it, the slugfest between the Congress and TMC was long brewing. The barbs by Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary wasn't lost on anyone, and post Mamata's statement, he said,
ममता बनर्जी की दया से हम लोग नहीं चुनाव लड़ेंगे और लड़ने के नहीं चाहते। कांग्रेस पार्टी अपनी ताकत पर चुनाव लड़ना जानते हैं। जो 2 सीटें हमारा कब्जे में है वो बीजेपी पार्टी और ममता बनर्जी को हरा के हम लोग कब्जे में लाए हैं। ममता बनर्जी की दया दूरज पे कांग्रेस पार्टी अपना राजनीति नहीं करते, कभी नहीं किए थे, आज भी नहीं करते। बदले में कांग्रेस पार्टी की दया से और मदद से 2011 साल में ममता बनर्जी खुद सत्ता पे आई थी। ये बात मान के चलिए, ममता बनर्जी एक अवसरवादी नेत्री की नाम है। बीजेपी के साथ बंगाल में वो चुनाव बांटना चाहते हैं और ध्रुवीकरण की राजनीति ममता बनर्जी को पुसाएगी। इसलिए हर किस्म के बहाना बनाते हुए इंडिया जोट के खिलाफ वो तरह तरह की बयानबाजी, चाहे प्रत्यक्ष या अप्रत्यक्ष रूप से वो करना जारी रखी है।
And then Jairam Ramesh of the Congress party also jumped into the fray in an attempt to salvage the situation. He of course said that you can't even imagine the India Bloc without Mamata Di. Listen in to what he had to say.
आपने ममता जी का पूरा बयान नहीं पढ़ा। ममता जी का पूरा बयान है, हम बीजेपी को हराना चाहते हैं, हम बीजेपी को हराने के लिए कोई कदम पीछे नहीं लेंगे। उसी भावना के साथ हम पश्चिम बंगाल में प्रवेश कर रहे हैं। जब हम लंबा सफर कर रहे हैं, एक लंबा सफर है, रास्ते में कभी कभी स्पीड ब्रेकर आ जाते हैं, कभी कभी लाल बत्ती आ जाती है। इसका माने नहीं है कि हम सफर से हम पीछे हट जाएं, चलता रहता है। स्पीड ब्रेकर को हम पार करते हैं, लाल बत्ती हरी बत्ती बन जाती है।
Look, I'm going to say something very strong, and maybe a time will come when all of you will turn around and say that why did the South Indians say something like this, but I am saying it today. How will this near disintegration of the India Bloc, yes, disintegration of the India Bloc, impact the south of India, a region which has been hailed as BJP Mukt and very different from the north. Stalin now is with the Congress. There are two Congress governments in Karnataka and Telangana. There is of course Pinarayi Vijayan. Will the south make the necessary adjustments for the 2024 elections, or will it be the hegemony once again of regional satraps? Let us debate. And joining me to speak on the matter, Nagesh Kumar, who is a senior journalist and political analyst, Suresh Kochatil, political analyst, Vijay Grover, senior journalist, and later we shall be joined of course by Bhanuchandar Nagarajan. A very warm welcome to all of you. Nagesh Garu, I am going to come to you first and tell me something. Will this have an impact on the south of India? You know, all along, I will tell you why. All along they said, oh, the south doesn't matter. Look at how many seats you people have. Then came a time when they said that, you know, that after, the south became completely bereft of the BJP, they said the north and the south are different countries. We are the ones who are actually going to, all of us are going to get together and see to it that, you know, there is a Congress or Congress allied government which comes to power. With this latest thing where the war is out in the open, Nagesh Garu, how is it going to impact the South Indian politics and particularly in the context of 2024?
You see, we have to look at this issue in two ways. One issue is that neither the TMC nor AAP have any presence whatsoever in the south. So, I mean, that way it is not going to big an impact. But the impact will come in the form of sort of and even in Telangana, you know, except for one seat that they have given to CPI, they have no alliance. The INDIA alliance has nothing in Telangana. It has nothing in Andhra either, because it has no alliance. Recently, they have appointed a new president. It is only in Tamil Nadu where they have an alliance with the DMK, and more importantly in Kerala, where their candidate will be again Rahul Gandhi from Wayanad, where they have this United Democratic Front. So, but it is unlikely that these two fronts can face the heat of Bengal and Punjab, because these have been both quite long-standing fronts, both in Kerala and Kerala. They have got also a sort of a strong interest in maintaining this front, because they have to fight the.
So, Nagesh Garu, are you saying? So, are you saying, because I asked that question, you know, when I was reading my intro. So, is it going to be the hegemony of the regional satraps? Are the ones that they are very safely ensconced? Nothing can shake them. This is not going to have an impact. Is that what you are saying, sir?
Yes, in the south, I think it's not going to it's not going to make an impact, because in Karnataka and Telangana, there are these parties have no presence. In Andhra also they have no presence, and in Kerala and Tamil Nadu, the regional parties are pretty strong, where they don't need any kind of help from outside.
All right.
But then, you know, one more thing, you know, Jairam Ramesh is trying to give us spin.
Yes. And he's failing miserably. I mean, he's a friend, but I would say that.
Mamata was very clear in saying that, there is not going to be an alliance. She
Yes.
is not prepared to give more than 2 seats.
Yes, absolutely. Suresh, I'm going to bring you in here. You see, we all know this, that how apparently, I mean, I also quite agree that the way vote during assembly elections is very different from the way you vote during Lok Sabha elections. Some people say that's not true, but I believe in it. Now, here is a man who's actually larger than life today after the Ram temple Pran Pratishtha ceremony. Here is a man who seems to be like a juggernaut. Now, tell me something, if this is how the India Bloc is, and I am not talking about Mamata Banerjee saying, I am not talking to the Congress, that is because they are, in a relationship with the left, but the general kind of, the chaos in the India Bloc, don't you think that it really works on the psyche of the people who vote? They will say, this is a more reliable man, I say, why should I vote for these people? Where are they going?
Well, you've got a Khichdi alliance on one side, and then you've got Narendra Modi on the other. I've been saying this quite a long time. In which state will this alliance be effective? I can only think of 2 states, Bihar and Maharashtra. There's no other state where they can actually work out an alliance, because in all other states, starting from south, CPM led LDF versus UDF in Kerala. And like the previous speaker said, that the Congress is an alliance with DMK. No, it's the other way around. DMK actually is throwing in crumbs to the Congress. There's no alliance, technically speaking. Whatever the seats they give to the Congress, they have to pick it up. And that's exactly what Mamata Banerjee did. She offered them.
Unmute yourself, please. I think you've muted yourself inadvertently.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
not at all. Go on.
So what I'm trying to say is that, when you look at Congress, last time they got 32 lakh votes in West Bengal. And CPM got something similar. But between BJP and Trinamool, there was a massive fight. And we all know that. 22 seats and 28 seats. There was a neck-and-neck contest that is going on there. And that is where, if you see the BJP's votes versus the Trinamool votes, there was a difference of just 10 lakh votes across a huge state, in a state where there are 42 Lok Sabha seats. And the seats won by BJP in West Bengal last time were the northern West Bengal and the constituencies bordering Jharkhand and Bihar. Very clear. And Mamata Banerjee won all her seats towards the Bangladesh side. And that was very clear why she wins there. She doesn't need the Congress, and she's very clear she will not.
No, but she doesn't need the Congress. But quickly before I take a break, will this have an overall impact in the south or not? Because we're talking about Lok Sabha elections, Suresh.
Well, south there is no influence, as was said before. What influence does Mamata Banerjee have in Karnataka? Or
it's not the influence of leaders. I'll come back and I'll talk to you about the general perception that is now created of a monolithic party in what we call a vibrant democracy. Ladies and gents, time for me to take a break, but I'm back in a jiffy and we shall discuss the topic of Mamata severing ties with the Congress and the impact that this will have on south of India. Back in a moment.
वर्ष 2070 तक भारत नेट जीरो का लक्ष्य हासिल करेगा.
There is certainly a wall of capital coming into the clean tech, climate tech space, not just in India but across the world.
This and more, streaming on world's first news OTT, News9 Plus. Download now.
Welcome back. The South Indian is here. We're discussing this right here on the wall. Has Mamata ended the dream of India in the South? I have experts with me. Let me now go to Vijay Grover. Vijay Grover, let's look at Stalin. What happens to Stalin? Of course, Suresh rightly said that they throw crumbs at the Congress. Last time there were much toing and froing. We saw during the assembly elections about how the Congress was really complaining, and also that they are also in alliance with the left parties. The left parties is also part of the entire, DMK kitty, as it were. The thing is that Stalin faces a galore of corruption charges. There is a lot of course, there is anti-incumbency which also comes into play. how will the image of, oh, we are going to really vote for a secular party, oh, I am a secular party, those are, you know, fascist, those are Hindi party, etc., etc. Don't you think perception matters, Vijay Grover? Because unlike earlier times, now the world is much smaller place, as it were.
Well, Sudha, I just want to start by saying one thing. 2024 could be the last election where we see regional satraps calling the shots. You know, the disintegration of the regional parties has already begun. And that is something where, you know, very clearly can see the way the parties are being taken over. After the demise of Jayalalitha, we've seen the AIDMK practically being taken over by the BJP in Tamil Nadu. In Karnataka, we've seen the RJ, the Janata Dal Secular, now on the verge of, you know, merging with the BJP officially. Yeah.
True.
And if you look in Maharashtra, the Shiv Sena, half of it is already gone to the BJP's kitty. And the BSP in the north is practically disintegrated and shifted to the BJP. Now, this could be something where we are returning to bipolar politics, and that is something could be the biggest achievement of the BJP, that it has managed to diminish.
Bipolar, sorry Vijay, bipolar kaise hua? If we are going towards...
I mean, you will see, I feel, you know, the way vacuum that is being created, where the Congress could be the only alternative party which would be there against the BJP in 2029. And this is something where, you know, you should be able to see that, you know, the Congress may be now crying or, you know, feigning crying that Mamata has walked out of the alliance. And that is something which I'm sure even many Congress leaders were not very comfortable working with Mamata, and her style of working, which, you know, has been very whimsical, and the way she has behaved in the past, you know, shifting here or there, beginning from 1998, the Subramanian Swamy Tea Party, or 1999. All these things are, you know, something where we have seen the way she has behaved in the past, and that is something which is now once again exposed, that, you know, she is not a reliable partner. And to some extent, I'm sure many of the India alliance partners would be heaving a sigh of relief that, you know, they don't have another ego to satisfy, and that is something which is now coming out in this. No, for her to say that, you know, Rahul Gandhi did not call her for the Nyay Yatra, and that is something, obviously it was a party campaign, it was not something which was an India campaign. And, you know, no one expects, you know, that she should have been invited for it. But, you know, in the back of the mind is also the fact that, you know, the way Rahul Gandhi in the last 4 days has attacked Assam chief minister on corruption issues. And, you know, I'm going back to the Sarada scam and the other chit fund scams, where if you look at, you know, the scam spread not only in Assam, it also was in West Bengal, and a lot of TNC workers were also a part of the same scam, which Rahul Gandhi has been referring time and again. So that could be something which could be at the back of it, because, you know, the way Rahul Gandhi is trying to make an issue out of it, certainly it rakes up,
so
you know,
are you,
several...
So Vijay, because, you know, are you saying that we are now hurting very close to a point, inching towards a point where it will be bipolar parties? I mean, which means that it's pretty much what one saw earlier, but roles reversed, where the Congress had the hegemony of being the sole monolithic party, and the Janata, you know, the Janasangh earlier, you know, which later became the BJP, kind of being a fringe party. But, you know, I am talking about what kind of impact will it have in the south. I am talking about the perception, I am talking about weakness, I am talking about ladai jhagde. No one wants to vote for anything which is weak, which is disintegrating. Nagesh Garu, let me come to you. Today there are reports about how, you know, some MPs from the BRS are, I don't know whether TRS, BRS, I mean, I do not know if their Namkarna has happened once again, but joining the Congress back there. So look how the party which once had the hegemony is now kind of weakening in a way. If you are analyzing it, then obviously it's a weakening thing. Let me talk about Revanth Reddy once again. Great victory, someone who, you know, who succeeded in kind of stymieing any kind of little skirmishes or mini rebellions which were taking place in his party, came to power. But the point is, the opposition gets a stick to beat him with and say, this is the party that he belongs to, They did 8 meetings. Ultimately, they went their own ways, like they're standing like Navagrahas, not looking at each other. I'm talking about the perception. Don't you think that it adds to the failure that he already faces? Oh, you are late with guarantees. Oh, you've now shaken hands with Adani. What is all this nonsense? So I want you to analyze that and tell me. And let's not forget, the world is a small place now.
No, the Adani issue was a big blooper on his part. There is absolutely no doubt, because the morning that Rahul Gandhi called Adani a crony capitalist, the same afternoon in Davos, Revant Reddy was putting a shawl over his shoulders and seeking investments successfully, something like 4,000 crores in Hyderabad. So, but you see, here, as far as Mamata Banerjee is concerned, the larger picture is like that. You see, the Congress is trying to act like a big brother. You see, even Nitish Kumar has got some issues.
Right.
The issue being that this Bharat Jodo Yatra, he says he is not informed. Mamata Banerjee says that she is not informed. So Bharat Jodo Yatra, when it passes through their states, it has to, these people have to extend their cooperation. And another thing is that the Congress has been so totally at sea. When about 4 or 5 months before the last assembly elections for 5 states, the Congress was busy with the elections, which it ultimately lost, except in Telangana. And Nitish Kumar was, he was saying that let us focus also on the Lok Sabha election. But nothing could move the Congress. Now again, when the Lok Sabha elections are due, Rahul Gandhi is busy with his Yatra.
Yeah, it's too. It's too late and too less. That's what I feel. That it's
too late and too less.
Too less, absolutely. Yeah, go on. Let me go to Bhanu Chandra and make your point.
But as far as Revant Reddy is concerned, he's sitting pretty. Though his margin is very small, 60 is the number of seats a party requires to stay in power. He has got 64 plus 1 LI 65.
Yeah.
But this morning, not MPs, MLAs, 4 MLAs of the BRS met him, which they described as a courtesy call. But as journalists, we all know that. We all know that.
What does courtesy mean?
Courtesy call to a person who is your opposition.
Yes.
So obviously they want to jump the ship and join the Congress.
All right.
So
this
comes one day after that Komat Reddy, Venkat Reddy said that about 30 MLAs of the BRS will join the Congress.
All right. So that's the scene in Telangana. Bhanu Chandra Nagarajan, my question. Sorry that you came late to the party. Sorry that the connection there was a problem. My whole thing is what happened today, where Mamata said no truck with the Congress, and also she said yesterday in West Bengal that how the CPM is sitting there. I have opposed them for 34 years. They seem to be taking all the decisions. It is not we all know why she is doing it. She has her own political ambitions. But tell me something, this whole, where they look very silly today, sorry, but all these are great leaders, regional satraps, they all look silly. The India Bloc looks silly. Don't you think that will have an impact on the people of South India when they go to vote for 2024, Bhanu Chandra?
Yeah, Sudha, there are going to be a couple of second order effects, as I would say, but no direct impact of the happenings of today. Because as one of the panelists was mentioning, if you take state by state, in Andhra Pradesh, Congress has nothing except, let's see what Sharmila brings in. In Telangana, in Karnataka and Kerala, they are standalone players. They don't need any alliance partners. In Tamil Nadu alone, the INDIA alliance is required by both the parties, DMK and the Congress. So that's where I think, if at all there is an impact, it can be only there. So let's talk about Tamil Nadu. In Tamil Nadu, the DMK really needs the Congress for 2 reasons. One is it brings the minority votes, and secondly, the Congress is becoming stronger with governments in Telangana and Karnataka. So the DMK needs the Congress, and the Congress also needs the DMK because it's the most powerful regional party there. But what has happened in Tamil Nadu is that the Congress is not negotiated well. It could ask for more seats, more than what it was asking or more it is being offered. and that is not happening, it seems. So I think the first second order effect, as I mentioned, would be the negotiation between DMK and Congress in Tamil Nadu. So that is one. The second one is what you mentioned, which is if people are going to look at an option that is weakened, will they waste their vote for that option? So that is the bigger question. But that will come post the elections, when the elections are announced.
No, I think it's not post the elections, but it's before the elections, because they are knocking at our door. And I think perception, like I said, is reality. The world has shrunk. We are all connected. I have to take a break, but I will be back in just a minute. Please stay with us, ladies and gents. We're discussing what Mamata's decision today, whether it will have an impact on south of India. It may not. We'll figure out. The show is still on. See you on the other side. Stay with us.
It was my 14th birthday.
On birthday, daughter waits
for missing father. He was carrying a cake for his daughter.
49-year-old Birmingham-based
Indian diplomat vanishes.
He was grabbed and bundled into a car by 4 assailants.
KLA claims responsibility. Demands Kashmiri separatists.
Maqbool Bhatt's release.
Goli maros. Or feck do.
And within 3 days, they shot him dead.
Abducted diplomat.
Found murdered in Leicestershire.
I said, who ordered to kill him? To me, he said, yes, I ordered it.
And he never came home.
Stop searching. Start streaming. Download the world's first news OTT, News9 Plus, ahead of the curve.
20,000 people dead and counting. What's happening in the United States of America is unprecedented. You will have to pay for this.
Pakistani spy agency ISI's sinister plan to target India. Training women to honey trap top civil and military officials. Counter honey trapping ops initiated by India. But gullible victims still caught in the web. Top military intelligence experts break down the web of deception. Colonel Hani Bakshi explains the phenomena of honey trap.
जहाँ पे भी आपको लगेगा, उनको लगेगा कि there is a person who is susceptible to women, who's making a lot of women friends on the social media. That is where they will make a spoof account and then start luring the person.
Colonel Pavitran Rajan decodes the psyche of the victim and the predator.
But when you go up the chain, no one enforces it to people at the top. That disciplinary regime and the security regime is not enforced at the top. And they usually have a public profile where it is much more easier to approach that person.
A News9 special on how modern technology has added teeth to the ancient spying tactic.
Our story takes you inside Pakistan's honey trap machine.
This and more, streaming on world's first news OTT, News9 Plus. Download now.
Now, South Indian is back, and this is what we are discussing today. Has Mamata ended the dream of India in the South? Just take a look at this closely. Those 4 faces, Siddaramaiah, Moka Stalin, Mamata Banerjee, Revant Reddy, all of them kept saying, will keep saying how they do not want India to be ruled by a fascist government, and they mean the BJP. They've said it umpteen times, and I think that's where one of the major reasons is hidden about whether this decision today of Mamata will impact the South or not. Vijay Grover, I'm coming to you and I'm going to ask you this question, but before that, let me ask you that even in today's paper, you see Siddaramaia's government is facing one challenge after. You've been on debates with me many times. Siddaramaiya is fighting D.K. Shivakumar. Today, corporations and other boards, today Parameshwara is saying no one consults me, no one tells me anything. They say we should have different deputy CMs. On top of that, there is infighting and immense infighting, and today what happened again. So, when a Kannadiga or anybody who is voting, they will say that when they, inki to banti to hai nahi in logon ki. You know, how reliable are they? Why is it that we should even vote for them? To vote, you need someone who has what is called trust. And I think there is only one man today. I mean, I don't hold a brief for the BJP, but it seems like there is just one man who seems to be trustworthy, which is Narendra Modi.
Well, see, as far as you look at the present scenario, BJP is certainly poised to win the 2024, and there's no doubt that it has the edge. If you were to, the elections were to be held now in the wake of the Ram Mandir also. Certainly, that is something where the dependence on allies is very less in the BJP, whereas in the case of the Congress, as you rightly said, that internal fighting is something where which is visible. We've seen regional leaders, the statement of Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, and then you see the Jairam Ramesh statement. They're very different, and this is something where is the problem, that there is no chain of command which gives out instructions or a set of rules to be followed when making comments about either the party or the opposition. And that's the biggest challenge that we are seeing in Karnataka. And Karnataka exemplifies the way Siddaramaiya fights D.K. Shivakumar, or the way the two of them, their supporters shed no aspersions in terms of putting down the other person. And, now we have Parameshwar who made the kind of statements yesterday. So clearly, all is not well either within the Congress or the relationship of the Congress with its allies. And that sends a very wrong signal as far as the voter is concerned, because, when you vote for parliament, you don't look at Karnataka alone. You look at a pan-India picture, and, in the pan-India picture, if, all the allies are going to be fighting with each other, certainly that is something which is a very wrong calling. I was not expecting Mamata Banerjee to back out so soon, as much as I was expecting Akhilesh to move out, with the kind of words we have seen between the Congress and the SP. I won't be surprised if it happens in a day or two, where we see even SP walking out of this alliance.
Vijay, I was thinking in the break, I wanted to ask you quickly if you can answer. With Mamata standing apart, with Bhagwant Mann saying hero ya zero, with Akhilesh, I have deja vu, about Akhilesh as well. Do you think that game is pretty much over? They will be a ragtag group of 3 people or 5 people maximum. I mean, it's a dream gone sour.
Well, it was a good concept per se, but the fact is, it started off with Sharad Pawar and his nephew having one foot in the NDA and one foot in with the UPA. That itself was a very wrong signal. And then we saw the way Shiv Sena, half of it is with the NDA, and Uddhav Thackeray is with the India Alliance. So this is something which was not, because it is not about arithmetic. There has to be a chemistry, and the India Alliance fails the chemistry because it cannot win the trust of the voter, and that is something which is becoming visible.
Nagesh Garu, I want to ask you, you said that it will have no impact, but I want to ask you, whenever Revant Reddy is doing a big rally, why do we need in Telangana, why did we need Rahul Gandhi, sir? Why did we need Priyanka Gandhi, sir, to come there? And why do we need Sonia Gandhi sending out a message to voters? Vote for Amma. You've called me daughter-in-law, you've called me mother, whatever that she said. So, if there is going to be no impact, then why are they there in the first place? The leaders to manage, no, Nagesh Garu. So, it is there. I mean, I think that it is rather simplistic. I am not saying that everywhere, but I think in a major way it will matter, because for the Lok Sabha polls, let us not forget, the entire Gandhi family will parachute down to Hyderabad, Nalgonda, everywhere.
No, in retrospect, they would not have added much value to the campaign, except that, it helps the Congress party to mobilize crowds when anyone from the Gandhi family comes. But the point is that the voting in the Telangana election was, I see it as more as anti-KCR, because it was an anti-incumbency vote. There was a lot of resentment among the people about some of the dictatorial policies of the previous government, the arrogance of the previous government, rather than, Rahul Gandhi or Priyanka Gandhi or Sonia Gandhi coming here, parachuting down and garnering votes for the Congress, or for that matter, even Revant Reddy garnering votes.
Yeah.
It is different, It was rather an anti-incumbency vote more than anything else.
No, but it's also the resurrection of Revant Reddy, no? I mean, I'll come to you. Suresh, do you agree with what Nagesh Garu says? My question is that if it is not going to have such an impact, then why were they there in the first place? That is my first question to you. Also, I think about, it's not a hypothetical situation, but let me tell you that, if Stalin, if the leftists who are with Stalin, they may say that if we are being insulted like this by Mamata Banerjee, what are we doing here, which will create internal turmoil, not that it will impact Stalin very much. So, in all, a big kind of a commotion will be created. Do you agree?
Well, so let us analyze the fact that why did Mamata Banerjee act like what she acted today? The problem was in the brewing before. It has nothing to do with the announcement of the Yatra entering West Bengal or whatever. The problem is to do with the communist. She plainly told the Congress that don't come with the communist into West Bengal, because our principal enemy at one time was the communist. Now it's a BJP. She does not want to have anything to do with communists, and that's exactly what happened in Tripura. To remember, the Congress and the communists campaigned together in Tripura against TMC and against BJP, and all of them lost except BJP, which won. In Kerala, look at across the border with Walayar, across Walayar River from Tamil Nadu, these two are fighting like pack of dogs. And then come into the other state, they are hugging each other. And naturally, people will ask, what kind of alliance is this?
Exactly.
Where you fight in one state and then you come and hug each other in another state. So Mamata Banerjee's principal problem has to do with Congress, nothing to do with Congress. It has to do with the fact that the Congress is allied to the CPM. And that is what Mamata Banerjee does. She just hates CPM. I think she can still accommodate BJP, but she will not have anything to do with, because she took a lot of beating to dethrone the long-standing CPM in West Bengal. And that, I think, is a big lesson for politicians, that once you've got your ground clear, don't go back and try and get the enemies back again onto your team, and that will kind of sink the ship.
All right. Bhanuchandar, tell me something. We've all spoken about what will happen to Stalin. You also spoke about what will happen to Stalin. Revant Reddy, as well as we see that Revant Reddy and Siddaramaiah, they obviously have an upper hand. They did brilliantly well when it came to their respective elections. But once again, do you concur, because I couldn't get connection to you, Bhanu, initially, so I'm asking you this question. Do you think that people vote differently during state elections and differently during assembly elections? And if that is so, then obviously the India Bloc, which is disintegrating, two people out today and then the third maybe the day after, like Vijay says, don't you think that it will have a major impact in the south as well? Because Yatras can only help you to this extent, not that this time, but last time he did start from Kanyakumari.
Oh, absolutely. See, I think usually there is a percentage point bump for national parties during general elections. In certain southern states, and even if you look at even like Maharashtra, there's usually a bump of like 7 to 10% for the BJP during national elections.
Right.
Now add another 5 percentage points for Ayodhya. So with Ayodhya and Modi, you have like probably a 12 to 15% bump that the BJP is going to get. So if you don't have your own ship in order, it is going to be very difficult for any of the parties to even compete, rather leave alone win. So I think that's the message for all over India. Coming to the India alliance, I think the fundamental aspect was that the Congress wanted to use the state synergies by allying with state parties in a national election, and was hoping to get some juice out of it. So that is the fundamental of it. But the problem came in negotiation. They wanted to be treated as equals in each of these states, which Mamata Banerjee showed the mirror to them, saying that you are not going to get like 21 out of 42, but only 2 out of 42. So I think that is the problem. I think the negotiation is where things stand right now. And like what you said, I agree that like tomorrow it might be Akhilesh, the day after tomorrow it might be some of the Bihar parties. They might actually come and say like, why should we even align with you when you don't even show signs of winning? I think the alliance is in tatters, as you said.
Vijay, I want to ask you, the man who's a South Indian, a man who was brought into the Congress so that he could act as a glue, Mallikarjun Kharge, all that is happening around him, do you think that it will be seen as his failure as well, because they thought here is a man who can correct things? You know, he was slated to be the next, he was prime ministerial candidate. They said, got up and said, here is a man who can be the prime minister. What do you think? Will history, if you look at in retrospect, and he's a South Indian, and that's why, and he's a backward, you know. So I want to ask you that how much of an impact will Mallikarjun Kharge, you know, will it be seen as his failure, Vijay Grover?
Well, see, certainly this is something, you know, because the responsibility of keeping the alliance together lied on him, and, you know, the kind of controversy we saw even about naming him as the convener itself was something which was not so easy, because, you know, many of these allies have been very whimsical and, you know, not the kind of thing. They are there only for their survival and not for actually the purpose which they came together with. That is something very clear. We don't know what compelled Mamata Banerjee to make this kind of statement. Was it something that, you know, maybe there was a call from the ED or the CBI about the Sharda scam, or, you know, the other cases against Abhishek Banerjee, which forced us to take this decision? But Mallikarjun Kharge certainly has a lot more to handle now in the coming days to ensure that whichever parties now remain in the India alliance, to keep them and, you know, have the negotiations to ensure that there are no more such defections which happen.
All right, and on that note, I've completely run out of time. Thanks are due to Vijay. Thanks, Nagesh Garu. As always, thanks so much, Suresh. Bhanuchandar, such a pleasure having you. Thank you very much for joining the South Indian, the show. So, much like what's happening in politics today, there is this documentary by News9 which you should not really miss. It's called Chennai, the man-made disaster, because year after year you see roads inundated, Tamil Nadu being flooded, and we saw it recently during cyclone Nyay. Do not miss this documentary, for it throws light as to what are the reasons behind this deluge year after year. And with that, the South Indian says Vanakkam. I'll be back tomorrow as always, and you and I will speak yet again. Vanakkam.
The city of Chennai in Tamil Nadu is reeling under the aftermath of cyclone Nyay.
Over 7,000 people have been evacuated ahead of a severe cyclonic storm.
Despite weakening, cyclone Nyay will continue to cause heavy rainfall.
Nobody could build an infrastructure where in 2 days you are going to get around more than 50 centimeters of rain.
Climate change is a very serious issue, and the coastal city of Chennai should take it very seriously.
Year after year, one thing that remains constant in Chennai is the desperation and devastation that monsoon leaves behind.
But none of us expected something like the cyclone Nyay to come in. It was almost like a out of syllabus portion which suddenly landed up.
Cyclone Nyay unleashed the fury of the sea and the sky on Chennai.
It turned the bustling metropolis into a vast lake, drowning in its own sorrows. And this is not the first time Chennai has faced the wrath of the floods or the rains. But what went wrong this time? Why did the city, despite lessons learned from the past disaster, fail to control the damage of the cyclone that left behind?
We have three rivers, Adayar, Kuam and Kosistaliar. Three rivers drain and there's a canal as well. There's a Buckingham Canal which is perpendicular to all the three rivers. So in terms of water draining facility, Chennai is unrivaled. You can't get any other city better than Chennai. Three rivers, then one perpendicular canal, everything is available. But what was happening was the water from the rivers found it difficult to get into the sea.
See, 2023 is like an unprecedented rain. Nobody could imagine or nobody could build an infrastructure where in 2 days you are going to get around more than 50 centimeters of rain, especially in all the places where it's going to drain the catchment areas, the sea, where the river water or the drains will drain out everywhere. 2 days, incessant rains. So that is the reason why there was flooding at some places. Rainfall played a dicey dance of nature, took a peculiar turn in 2023, unlike the short intense burst of 2021 or the scattered showers of the 2020. This year rainfall showcased a different rhythm, over 500 mm in just 64 hours. With consistent medium intensity rain, Chennai found itself submerged, a stark contrast to the vast, and the numbers tell a tale of their own.
Chennai was lucky this time actually, if you ask me. Why, this cyclone got formed at about 100 kilometers from the Chennai's coast. So had it formed about 300 kilometers away from the Chennai's coast, the amount of energy that it would get from the oceans and would have hit Chennai would have been much more bigger than what we saw due to Migjam.
Chennai is not new to cyclone. In the last 10 years, 6 cyclones have graced the shores of Chennai.
See, for a cyclone to get formed, you need 3 important parameters. 1, the ocean's temperature should be 27 degrees Celsius plus. Number 2, you need to have a lot of moisture. And number 3, you need to have a monsoon wind. So already the temperature of Indian Ocean and the Bay of Bengal has crossed 29. So one parameter is already set there permanently. Second thing is, when you heat up water, what will happen? Water becomes evaporated and there is a lot of moisture, lot of stuff in the atmosphere. So 2 is ready. What you need is a monsoon wind. So during the northeast monsoon, you get the monsoon wind. So it gets, the 3 parameters are met. So you first depression is formed, then a deep depression, and a cyclone is, then it upgrades itself into a cyclone, then from cyclone to a super cyclone.
For many, rain is nature's gift, a lifeline for parched lands. But here in Chennai, the northeast monsoons transforms into an unwelcoming guest, bringing devastation etched into the fabric of Chennai's existence. Yes, natural causes and climatic change contribute to the rising waters, but the real culprit, the silent assailant, is us, the people. Our appetite for development, our relentless encroachment upon once pristine lake has turned a blessing into a curse for the people of Chennai.
We cannot escape from the wrath that climate change will bring. At the same time, we cannot hide behind climate change and say all this is because of climate change. Most of the drains in Chennai, natural drains, are occupied or encroached, and if Chennai has to become a climate resilient city by the 22nd century, lot more needs to be done than what we are doing now.
I often tell people actually, there are 2 things which don't forget their roots. One is the elephant. The elephant does not forget the roots because today's elephant was part of a herd by a matriarch which was 50-60 years old. Okay, and that matriarch's experiences from her mother, which is again 50-60 years old. Similar is water. Water will never forget its roots. It will trace its path depending on how much rains happen. So if the rains are heavy, it has its path, it will take its path.
Chennai and its 2 neighbouring districts, Kanchipuram and Tiruvallur, together had 6,000 lakes. Today only 3,896 exist. In 2012, a study by the Indian Institute of Technology, Madras, estimated that Chennai had around 650 water bodies in the early 1980s, but only 30 remained by 2012. And as per the Water Resource Department, Today, 19 major lakes of Chennai have shrunk from 1,130 hectares to 645 hectares. This is a 90% decline in the last 30 years.
There are about 30 major drains. There used to be 542 small streams. So when the rain falls, the small streams will carry the water to the major drains. The major drains will carry the water to the rivers, and rivers will carry the water to the oceans. What are they? These are not perennial rivers. They are actually drainage systems for Chennai. When there is rainfall, it ensures that rainfall doesn't get stagnated, and it carried over to the wetlands, and from wetlands it goes to the oceans. So such a beautiful system, such a beautiful drainage system, if you ask me, is completely destroyed in the last about 70-80 years or 100 years of urbanization.
The core of the city, where the new stormwater drain project has taken place, there was no flooding at all. Immediately, 1 hour, even after this incessant rain, after 1 hour, the roads were normal, traffic is normal, everything was normal. It was the suburbs where this project could not yet be completed. See, this is a project, an ambitious project, started at 2022, when it will be completed in 2025. Chennai was one of the leading states to ban single-use plastic. Be it AIDMK or DMK, they were vocal against the use of plastic, but they failed to implement it on the ground. Despite banning single-use plastic in 2019, a 2020 study by the Tamil Nadu Pollution Control Board estimated that Chennai generates over 150 tons of plastic carry bags and 100 tons of other plastic waste every day. Unchecked use of plastic and the plastic ending up at these water storm drains become a major cause of water stagnation for days.
Yes, the garbage left behind is an issue. It clogs the drains, water is not going to get out. Plus, they should also be asked to not to throw garbage, plastics, so that it chokes the drains and the rainwater or flood water doesn't get into the drains.
See, the important lesson what we have learnt is prepare for the worst, expect the unexpected. If they are going to say heavy rainfall, expect for very heavy rainfall. We will have to have models to ensure that if there are going to be 100 centimeters of rains, how we are going to protect the citizens, how we are going to ensure that normal life limps back immediately to normalcy.
Why is the state not looking at putting an embargo on that?
As a Telangana person, I will not accept.
How do ordinary folks deal with this?
Currently, the industry is facing a lot of challenges as far as demand is concerned. Basically, the US markets has slowed down because of high inflation.
So obviously, diamonds being a dream product, something which doesn't have a utility value or is seen as a luxury. So that obviously goes off your shopping list. That's the first item that will go off your shopping list, especially in recessionary trends.
That lab-grown diamonds are not mined.